Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've spent all week live streaming, answering start sit questions, and honestly, I kind of realized that maybe we went a little too aggressive with a few players on our rankings. So what I want to do is dedicate an entire video of trying to convince you to bench certain players, get them out of your starting lineup entirely this week, regardless of if this is the offense, the matchup, their usage. Please let me know if you like this video down there in the comment section. We can start to do this more and more. But while you're down there, of course, drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. If you want to check out any of these player props for this weekend, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy down there in the comment section in the description of this video. When you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. So deposit $10. Immediately have $20 in your account with promo code FLOCK, and you can draft with us on the live stream. But I think that should be it. Let's dive right into this, and let's start it off with a pair of teammates here. We're going to do a continued trend because I kind of want to be betting against offenses. Let's go with the combo of D'Onta Foreman and DJ Moore. Now, with D'Onta Foreman, you know that we've gone through and said for quite some time now that this is a sell-high player for us. While Hook 'em Lawrence, I'm rooting for him. Love the guy. At the end of the day, I mean, you've heard me say over and over and over again what has been wrong with D'Onta Foreman, and that is not the individual player. It's the usage in the offense that he is a part of. I mean, if we're going through and looking at this matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, we can pretty much assume that D'Onta Foreman is not going to be involved as a pass catcher. D'Onta Foreman has had a total of 4 receptions over the past 4 weeks. It's 1 reception a game. Okay, so he's not going to get involved as a pass catcher. So what do we need for D'Onta Foreman? Where the running back had 31 carries this past week where they beat the Atlanta Falcons. Well, what we need for Foreman is we need either a game where the Carolina Panthers win, but we know that's probably not going to happen, or we'll settle for a game where at least it's close. At least they're able to run the ball in the second half, and D'Onta Foreman is able to get heavily involved. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the spread on this game between the Carolina Panthers and the Baltimore Ravens, 14 points. Now, I've said this over and over and over again. I am just a clown in a suit behind a microphone. I mean, I am an idiot compared to Las Vegas sportsbooks. I mean, if you're looking at sportsbooks, they are going to know infinitely more than I do. They will know infinitely more than you do. They will know more than anybody on YouTube. They'll know more than anybody watching a YouTube video, okay? If you think that you can go through and create better lines than Vegas sportsbooks, I have news for you. You can't. Okay. So we really need to respect these lines. And if they're telling us that the Carolina Panthers project to be the worst offense in the NFL this weekend, and on top of this, they're going to lose this game by roughly about 2 touchdowns, this is the worst kind of game environment to go through and play D'Onta Foreman, and please put him down there on your bench. And if we're looking at DJ Moore, I know maybe you can say, well, Mason, if the Carolina Panthers are trailing, they're going to have to go through, they're going to have to throw the ball over and over and over again. Well, if we look at DJ Moore over the past 2 weeks here, now I know I'll have a different quarterback play. I know Baker's going to be in, but regardless, if you look at DJ Moore over the past 2 weeks, he has averaged 3 receptions a game. He has had about 50 receiving yards total with these 2 contests. With DJ Moore, I know we had a little bit of that spike stretch where you had Matt Rule getting fired. You had Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey leaving this offense. I don't know if that motivated this team for just 2 games. Were they able to beat the Bucks 21-3? Where they go and scored 34 against the Atlanta Falcons? We said it then. I'll say it now. The Carolina Panthers are one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I just think that they get boat raced by the Baltimore Ravens. That's what Las Vegas lines are telling us as well. So then we have to respect them, and I think we have to bench both Carolina Panthers players. But now, going over to another team with a very low total, we're going to have the Cleveland Browns playing in Detroit against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, obviously, it would have been easy to go through and bench these Cleveland players if they were playing in Buffalo with the snow game. But of course, you're starting Nick Chubb. Okay, even if Vegas is telling us that the Cleveland Browns are going to have a very hard time moving the ball down the field, you're still starting Chubb. And honestly, I'm still starting Amari Cooper. Now, I know Amari has been horrendous. And I repeat, horrendous. If we are going to be looking at games on the road where the Cleveland Browns lose, it's the worst combination for Amari Cooper. And that's what we're going to have here against the Buffalo Bills. I don't really care too much. I mean, with Amari Cooper, I think that he is a talent that you have to get in that flex spot almost no matter what, unless you have someone like Olave to play over him. Then, of course, you can pivot. But when it comes to Donovan Peoples-Jones, when it comes to Kareem Hunt, I don't have to convince you to not play Kareem Hunt. I know everybody's benching him. But specifically with Donovan Peoples-Jones, I've had a million questions in the live streams this week asking if people should go ahead and play him. We had him on our waiver wire video. I think that he's a very exciting player long term. However, do not play him against the Bills. Vegas is telling us that the Browns are going to get boat raced, that they're not going to be able to put points up on the board with Donovan Peoples-Jones as well. I mean, this is a wide receiver that really doesn't have much touchdown upside, hasn't scored a touchdown, I mean, really all season. If you're looking at the past month here with Donovan Peoples-Jones, the wide receiver averaging about 5-6 targets a game. I'm not going to play the second wide receiver in a run-heavy offense with Jacoby Brissett under center if he's going to average 5-6 targets per game in a tough matchup. Donovan Peoples-Jones is still someone you should have on your roster. I think you'll be an interesting start in games where the Cleveland Browns will be able to move the ball down the field through the air, aka when we get Deshaun Watson back in this offense. But for this week, it'd be way too early to play him. But now going over to the situation we'll have on Monday nights, let's look at Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore. So Hollywood Brown back at practice on Thursday. I mean, very exciting. Looks like Hollywood Brown may play on Monday night. Now, does that mean we should plan on playing Hollywood Brown? No. Because with Hollywood Brown, so much is going on. I mean, it's a tough matchup against the 49ers. Vegas is telling us Arizona's not going to be able to move the ball effectively down the field. So, I mean, you don't like either two of those things, but also we have to take into consideration that if Hollywood plays, there's an outside chance that he's limited. There's an outside chance that they work him in to see about 40-50% of the snaps this week and then plan on expanding his role the week following. So that's another red flag in the situation. Not to mention, we have the red flag of, well, what happens if you plan on playing him Monday night? He's a game time decision. Then all your Sunday guys go out there and play on your bench, and then Hollywood Brown's ruled out. And then all of a sudden, we just have nobody to go to. That's also a situation that we need to really be avoiding. When it comes to Rondale Moore, we ranked Rondale Moore aggressively at the beginning of the week because I thought Hollywood Brown wasn't going to play. However, when looking at Rondale, even though he would be an exciting option if Hollywood were to miss because we would have no Hollywood Brown, no Zach Ertz, I think you would get a lot of targets. You still cannot put him in there with the uncertainty that we have with Hollywood. Because if Hollywood Brown does play, if he does see his usual role, I'm not going to be starting the wide receiver 3 here in an offense that should struggle in a very tough matchup against the 49ers. So there's so much uncertainty in Arizona that the only players I want in my starting lineup this week are DeAndre Hopkins, James Conner. We'll see what the roles are Monday night, and we'll reevaluate for week 12. But now let's go over to a player that I have in so many best ball leagues that I want to get excited about. Cordarrelle Patterson. With Cordarrelle Patterson, if you're looking at Las Vegas sportsbooks, they're telling us the Atlanta Falcons are going to be able to put up a lot of points. So what that would mean is, Cordarrelle Patterson's probably going to have a pretty good day because who else is going to have a good day here? You're not going to expect Drake London to be a great player. You're not going to expect Kyle Pitts to be a great player. Maybe this is the CPAT show. Full transparency, my third most drafted running back in best ball, only behind Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker as my two most guys. So I am rooting for Cordarrelle Patterson. But if we go back to what we had in week 10, so the most recent week, Tyler Algier, 30 snaps. Cordarrelle Patterson, 24 snaps. Avery Williams, 9 snaps. Caleb Huntley, 9 snaps. Keith Smith, 6 snaps. You have 24 snaps played for Cordarrelle Patterson out of the potential 63. Cordarrelle Patterson is in a 4-man running back by committee. While Cordarrelle Patterson, you would think, would be a phenomenal pass catcher out of the backfield. I mean, he hasn't really been catching the ball that often in Atlanta because they don't throw the ball, because there are no passing attempts whatsoever from Marcus Mariota. So Cordarrelle Patterson has a whopping 6 receptions this season. I mean, in 6 games played. So he's averaging 1 reception a game. He's currently in a 4-man running back by committee. He's 31 years old in a bad offense. You can't play him. Trust me. I am hoping I am wrong. He's my third most drafted running back in over 700 teams, only behind Jacobs and Kenneth Walker. Like, I'm really hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping we get a massive week. It's a good matchup. But with this usage, with this offense, I don't think you can buy into it. Now, going over to our next running back situation. Right now, there is some uncertainty in Washington. I think you can start Brian Robinson. I think you can start Antonio Gibson, given the matchup that they have against the Houston Texans. Unless, and it's a big unless, J.D. McKissic plays. Now, right now, it does look like McKissic's going to miss. And I know we probably shouldn't even be talking about this. Maybe I'm wasting your time. But anyway, if McKissic were to practice on Friday, if he were to be a surprise active player against the Houston Texans, and this were to go back to being a three-man running back by committee, at that point, everybody in Washington would not be startable again. I kind of just want to bring up Brian Robinson and let you know that you should sell him if you're playing in a full PPR league. I mean, I think that eventually you'll get J.D. McKissic back in. Eventually he'll be a three-down running back by committee. And what we talked about in the live stream last night is the usage Brian Robinson has had as a pass catcher. Phenomenal week this past week, 27 carries, 86 rushing yards, and the rushing touchdown. They ran the ball over 40 times against the Eagles. But as a pass catcher this season, I know you're not going to believe me, but Brian Robinson, when he's had 93 carries, so he's had a massive role, has had a whopping 7, not receptions, 7 receiving yards. Brian Robinson has had 7 receiving yards. You can start him in a non-PPR format if J.D. McKissic misses in a great matchup against the Houston Texans. I know it's a great matchup against the Texans. I know he just looked great on Monday night, so I know a lot of people are going to be excited. But I would be hesitant in a full PPR league, regardless of McKissic plays or not, because he doesn't get involved in the passing game. And also, there's always the outside chance that Washington just lays an egg, even if it's Houston. Now, going over to our next team, we are going to be looking at the New York Jets. Now, with the Jets, Michael Carter Jr., the week before the bye, had a very good performance. Garrett Wilson has been a buy low player for us for quite some time. I mean, I am very excited about Garrett Wilson, the continued role that he has had. I mean, as we've gotten, Elijah Moore bench, Garrett Wilson's looked phenomenal. But if you go back and look at the history of what we have seen with the New York Jets, with Zach Wilson against the New England Patriots, it has been about the most disgusting thing you could ever imagine. The most disgusting thing you could ever imagine here. I think that Vegas is right in that they have the New York Jets as one of the worst offenses in the NFL this week, right alongside the Carolina Panthers. So even if I love the talent of Garrett Wilson, even if Michael Carter Jr. was good before the bye, I think it's an easy spot to go through and just hit the avoid all Jets button. Please, please, please do not start a Jet. And also another offense in free fall. I'm not going to start anybody for the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, with the Rams running backs, you had a 3-man backfield split, 35 snaps for Darrell Henderson, 16 snaps for Kyron Williams, 10 snaps for Cam Akers. It's been disgusting. I mean, I would say if this is one of the best offenses in the NFL, then maybe at that point you could go ahead and maybe at that point you could convince yourself that it would be a fine idea to go through and get Darrell Henderson in here if Darrell Henderson was playing 35 snaps. But with this being a trash offense, with this being a 3-man split backfield, not interested. And on top of this, I mean, if we are going to be looking at what we have when it comes to Allen Robinson, yes, I get it with Allen Robinson. You have no Cooper Kupp. Does it matter? Do we really think the reason Allen Robinson has been so bad for 2 years now has been Cooper Kupp? No. People were saying coming into this season, people were trying to convince us coming into this season that Cooper Kupp was going to be a good thing for Allen Robinson and that finally Allen Robinson wasn't going to be schemed out of the game plan by the defensive coordinator, yada, yada, yada. And now people are saying that Allen Robinson is going to be interesting because he's going to get more targets with Cooper Kupp gone. Now, the only pass catcher, the only player you can even start with the former Super Bowl winning team here is going to be Tyler Higbee. If you want to go through and play Tyler Higbee, hell, go for it. Higbee should be in a good spot because we've seen Higbee be productive before. I don't think defensive coordinators are going to scheme around Tyler Higbee to take him out. And with Higbee, there are targets available with no Kupp. That's the only player I'm going to play in Los Angeles. But I think that should be it. Of course, thank you so much for checking out the video. Go down there and drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We just hit 150,000 subscribers on this channel. So thank you so much for that. And also, well, we know we should start him. I think we should also be looking to take the more than 86.5 receiving yards for Davante Adams on Underdog this week. If you want to check out that player prop or any of these player props, you can find the link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOG. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar, $200, available in damn near every state. But I think that's all I got for you. Of course, thank you so much for being a part of the vlog. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I hope you have a great day.